members of the South African Communist Party were re-elected unopposed at the party's elective conference in Boksburg, east of Johannesburg. Among those re-elected was Secretary General Blade Nzimande, as well as the First Deputy Secretary Solly Mapaila. But for more on the story, we now cross live to our reporter Ntlantla Kgatlhane, who's at the conference. Ntlantla, what's the latest?
Well, good day to you in studio. Talking to you right here from Boksburg, where we just witnessed the elections of the new leadership of the SACP. Just quite interesting to talk more with regards to that is that we only saw two positions here, that have new faces rather. The first one is of the First Deputy Secretary General, which is now going to be, or rather is occupied by Mr. Solly Mapaila, and the one which is of the Second Deputy Secretary General, which is going to be occupied by Chris Mahlako. Just to talk to us a little bit more about, what happened today or this evening is Ntlantla Mapaila. Congratulations, Ntlantla Mapaila. Just tell us how you feel after, being ascended from the Second Deputy to the First Deputy.
Well, that's fine. It doesn't make much difference. It's just the positions in the Constitution in terms of seniority in the party. But otherwise it doesn't make any difference from the collective work of the officials, PB and Central Committee.
Just to talk more a little bit, a lot of people thought you were going to sort of stand up for nomination for the Secretary General, and you said that no, the time was not right and not now. Just take us through the reason why you did not stand up, or rather you were not available for any nomination for that position.
No, because the incumbent, Comrade Blade Nzimande, has been doing very well as the leader of the Communist Party, and is still a young comrade relatively, an outstanding intellectual who is respected even internationally by the communist and workers' movement, even here locally. And he still has more years that he can give to the Communist Party, and there was no political strategy that designed that there's a requirement for change. We're even in an organizational renewal process which has been tabled at Congress, in which Comrade Blade also tabled the question of the leadership succession that must take place. Therefore, there was no need for the euphoria of Congress to come in and one wants to just go and contest positions. The political work of the Communist Party literally has nothing to do with political positions per se. We're just asked to serve, and you give your best wherever is possible. And so therefore, in that case, there was no need to contest that particular position.
Just talking to the contestation issue, it's been quite interesting that throughout the years we have seen the SACP not contesting for position. I guess also that plays a role in terms of showing that you guys are united every time when you come to events like this. Can you just stick into the history of the party in terms of how it's been doing things?
Yeah, that's extremely important. You can trace it back to several years ago, I think from the 12th Congress and from the 11th Congress, 12th Congress, 13th Congress, now the 14th Congress. There's been unanimity in the selection of leadership of the party. And this is quite important because if the organization is ideologically united and united also by principles and political strategy, you are able to cohere the other structures of the organization. That is why we've always said that under the leadership of Comrade Blade, we're able to present to this Congress a very united organization, politically, ideologically, and organizationally. And therefore, there was no need for requirement of change. And we hope that this kind of unity can wrap off also within the organizations of the alliance, so that we are able to handle leadership questions much more different.
Well, thank you so much. There you go, Peter. Just Mr. Mapaila talking to us actually more about in terms of what happened today. Just now he just spoke about, sort of leading by example in terms of this leadership issue. We saw that there was no contestation. The party sticking to its, how in terms of how it's doing its things in history, not contesting for leadership. With that being said, it's back to you in studio.
Ntlantla, thank you very much indeed. So that's the story, perhaps not unexpected, but the leadership of the South African Communist Party continues as is. Now, as the world prepares